We use names every day to identify objects and people. Variables are no different. While naming a variable something vague and simple like x may save you some time now, it may be hard to recall the purpose of that variable when you look at your program later. This is why you should always give descriptive names to your variables. But before you do, there are a few rules to learn. Rule 1. A variable's name cannot contain spaces. So a name like Big Red Apple will not work. Instead, we can combine the words of that name into a single word, like Big Red Apple. This is both easy to read and descriptive. The trick is to capitalize the first letter of every word except the first word. This notation is called camel case since it resembles the bumps on a camel's back. Rule 2. We can't use numbers at the beginning of a variable name. So 3 apples is invalid since it begins with a number. Apples 3, however, is a valid name to represent 3 apples. Rule 3. Variable names are case sensitive. This means that books with a lowercase b and books with an uppercase b are 2 different variables. So make sure you spell your variable names carefully. Last rule, variable names must be unique. For example, you can't have 2 different variables with the name books. Now, let's practice renaming some variables. If you look at the code editor, you'll see that the variable names make it hard to figure out the program's purpose. Let's fix that. Rename the variable x to price before tax, the variable y to tax, and the variable z to price after tax. Make sure that your capitalization matches the one on screen and that you apply the name changes everywhere. Pay special attention to the last line of code. Before you hit run code, can you guess what the program does?